Good evening, everybody. Right, another interesting couple of minutes with me, I suppose. Right, tonight, as you already know, those who follow me, I like to change things over a little bit. So tonight, I've got something really interesting for you. This time, I'm going to bring in animals and the superpower of animals. And you're going, what is he on about now? Okay, there's quite a lot of animals that have superpowers. What we don't actually are not supposed to know of, but we're getting sort of like information to say what they are. Right, so I'm going to name some of these things and give examples. So first of all, we'll do the humans. Humans, I'm sure most people now have actually heard of horse whisperers. This is when people can talk to a horse and it can stop and just doesn't move or anything like that, or it does exactly what the person says. Yeah. Now this has been going for thousands upon thousands of years. People are training horses. And these people, horse whisperers, have always been around there. We just know more about them nowadays. Okay, so that's a horse understanding what to do for a human. But what about animals that give away their secrets that we can only just start to appreciate now? What about pigs? Yeah, farmyard pigs. Now, pigs are a relation from wild boar. It's all the same family. Yeah. Now, one thing that happens there, in country law, it is said that pigs can see the wind. So, which you're like, what? Now, one thing that people have noticed with pigs, if you're near a pig farm or anything like that, and you see the pigs, that sometimes it's like they've got a third sense, and they instead of just shuffling around, going through the muck and the mud with their noses, they throw the hay in the air. Now that's supposed to be a sign of bad weather approaching. And if you ask people from the countryside, we do look at the animals. I was born up and brought up in the countryside. You do look at the animals, and you can understand that they change with the weather. The old saying, changing with the weather. Animals do this. So if it's a nice hot day and it's going to be a lovely day, then a lot of animals, especially herd animals, cattle and sheep, will go to the top of a field. If the weather's going to go down, they'll come down the field. And it depends whether they're standing up or sitting down. So all of this is sort of like they have a sense that we have lost for the weather. And this is one thing that they say, that the pigs could actually see the wind coming. So they throw it up in the air and it'll drift around. So if you see that, you can probably expect a bit of a breeze or a change in the weather approaching. One of the will sort of like downgrade in size. One of the most interesting ones are old English chickens. Yeah, the English chickens. Now, the legends behind chickens are there's loads. But one of the main things is that the chickens are there to drive off the devil. Now, in devil worshipping and things like this, it's normally forecast the devil has the head of a fox. Now, this links in quite nicely with each other because anyone who's had old English chickens knows that the actual cockerels, the male chickens, have spurs on the back of their legs. These are for fighting with, for attacking. You wouldn't think a chicken is very aggressive. I would beg to differ because I've been on the receiving end when I used to have old English fighting cockerels. When they decide to defend the hens, you are the target for those spurs. They're very painful, very sharp, and they dig in, and they will draw blood. And those cockerels will actually fight to the death if you leave them to it. They are that aggressive and that defensive. So foxes, when they get into the run, now foxes normally kill all chickens when they get into the run. They don't know. It's a strange thing that foxes do. They'll try to kill everything in there, and they'll come back and take one, and then they'll come back and take another until they're caught. But they have a habit of killing everything. That's why people don't like foxes in the countryside. But if you've got the old English cockerels, they will fight against that fox. It used to be wolves. There used to be wolves here as well, but foxes, they still will attack the fox. They'll attack mink. they will attack. Ferret, any predatory animal gets in the chicken run, they will defend that chicken run to the death. So, hence they're fighting off the devil. And when in the morning it's been a pleasant night, remember they've been stood up on guard all night, they will let you know with their and that is the sign in all England that you can get up and you know you've had a pleasant evening's sleep and it's safe to come out of the houses again. So remember, they didn't have electricity in those days. Okay, we're going to go down in scale once more. This time we're going to combine the mighty with the tiny. This time we're going to be talking about cattle. Now, cattle provide milk and they provide beef, so they provide food and milk. So, very useful. And leather. So, very useful. Now, in old times, there used to be a saying not to disturb the swifts and swallows when they were nesting in the cattle bays. Now, you might think, well, that's a bit strange. Now, it isn't, because in today's knowledge, we actually know that is an unwise thing to do. The reason for that is when the swifts and swallow come all the way from Africa to fly here, very clever, they actually fly sleeping as well. They actually you've seen them nesting in the eaves of houses and barns. Now, they're busy flying around, eating all the little insects. Now, one thing that cattle have is a lot of insects. If you've ever been, you can smell cattle coming. There's a lot of poop and a lot of wee involved with cattle, which brings out the worst part, which makes loads and loads of flies. Right, so the swifts and swallows fly around, eating all the flies and everything like that. When they're eating all those flies, they're stopping the flies from biting the cattle. Because if there's so many of them give the cattle an infection, they can get like something called mastitis, so which turns the blood, makes blood go into it can put blood into the milk. So, in that sense, they're actually helping the cattle by eating the flies. So that's their superpowers. Right. And the last one, I'm going to have to check this one just for you, because I've gone through quite a lot of them, is the geese. Goose. Have you ever been near goose? Goose have been used as watchdogs since the Roman times. They didn't have dogs. They had geese, because geese, one, will make such a racket it'll wake up everybody, and two, they will attack you. So if you've ever been walking around a park and a goose has decided to take the bread off you, but in a forceful manner, you'll know that you have to run off quite quick and they'll chase you. So they were used as guard dogs, geese. But as well as that, in Great Britain as well, in the old times, before turkeys came in after the discovery of Americas. So before that, at Christmas time, which was called Michaelmas, they used to have turkey for Christmas. Goose for Christmas. So the geese used to be out in the meadows and near the seaside and everywhere. They used to be in big flocks. And then when it came nearly Michaelmas, they would literally, a guy would walk with the geese like cattle, and he would walk them hundreds of miles in flocks of up to 20,000, and he would take them to the cities, where they would have one particular week or 2 weeks in the year where they would have what they call a goose fair. Now, the most famous of these goose fairs going today is probably Nottingham Goose Fair. Still happens, 600 years I think it's been running now. It goes for 2 years. We don't no longer sell geese there, but they have all the fairgrounds arrive there over a mass area of Nottingham, and for 2 weeks everyone has a celebration. So, but again, the geese were the guard dogs, and they were what you had instead of turkey at Christmas. So I thought I'd share something different. Those are old medieval things that still exist today, and of course the animal things are thousands of years old, if not hundreds of thousands of years old, and we still recognise today. So I hope that's something different. We'll probably have ghosts and ghouls and everything back to normal again on the next one. Remember, push the button, push share, subscribe if you want to, if you're feeling brave. And remember, Halloween's coming soon. So, sleep tight. Night night.